Okay, so these are your notes on the rock cycle. Okay, so it's a cycle of rocks. There isn't really an end, there isn't really a beginning. Okay. We're gonna start at these little itty bitty pieces, these little dots in here. Just that's where I'm picking. Okay. And we call these little itty bitty pieces of rock, we call them sediment. Okay. So we call those little itty bitty pieces of rock sediment. And when we take those little itty bitty pieces of rock and we smush them together and then glue them together, okay, we make a rock. We make one big rock. Okay? And our words for our science words for smushing those pieces together, okay, is compaction. And then gluing them together, our science word is cementation. Okay, so when we take our little bitty pieces, our sediments, and we compact and cement them together, we get this layered, kind of uniformed rock. It's called a sedimentary rock. And then after sedimentary rock, we're going to continue on our little cycle, our little journey. We're going to take our rock and we're going to push, and we're going to add lots of pressure, okay, and lots of heat. It's going to go deeper into Earth's crust, so it's going to heat up, and it's going to get lots of pressure on it from all of the rock above it pushing down. So we're going to add some heat and pressure. And the rock we're going to make when we get heat and pressure is a metamorphic rock. So anytime you have little bitty pieces that you push together and glue together, you get a sedimentary rock. When you have a rock and you add heat and pressure, you get a metamorphic rock. Now we're going to take that metamorphic rock and we're going to melt it. And it's going to get even pushed farther down towards the center of the Earth, right? And it's going to become magma. Okay, I added this little line in here. It's going to become magma after it's melted. And that magma is going to start to rise to the surface. And when it gets to the surface, or almost to the surface, it rises up. It's going to cool and harden. And when that magma or lava cools and hardens, we get an igneous rock. And then that igneous rock, we're going to, break it down. It's going to be on the surface. It's going to get wind. It's going to get rain. It's going to get smashed and broken by tree roots and ice and anything you can imagine. So it's going to go through weathering and erosion. And it's going to form all those little pieces. After it forms all those little pieces, it can get smashed together and glued together and make a sedimentary rock, and then heat and pressure and metamorphic and melting and magma and cool and harden and igneous, and it can keep going like this. Something else could happen though. After we get these little bitty pieces, it could get, pushed together, glued together, cemented and compacted, become sedimentary rock, and that sedimentary rock can undergo weathering and erosion. When it undergoes weathering and erosion, it goes to those little pieces. Those little pieces can be compacted and glued together in a sedimentary rock, and that could keep happening. That could be its whole cycle. Never becomes any of these other rocks. Our sedimentary rock can have heat and pressure and become a metamorphic rock, and that metamorphic rock hanging out gets pushed up to the surface, and that can undergo weathering and erosion and make those little sediments. Right? Those little sediments, and so forth. We could be an igneous rock, and an igneous rock could, instead of getting all the way up to the surface and weathering and erosion, it could get pushed back down into the earth. It could sink back down into the middle, and it could be getting heat and pressure. When it gets heat and pressure, it's a metamorphic rock. So there's lots of different pathways that these rocks can go. There isn't exactly one pathway that's right. You could have an igneous rock that's a metamorphic rock that's an igneous and metamorphic, and it could hang out down here. Right? Or it could hang out over here, or it could hang out over here. There isn't one exact path. It can go lots of different ways depending on where it's at and where it goes, what it does. Okay, so this is our rock cycle. We're going to turn the page here and we're going to talk about our 3 different types of rock. Okay, and then when we're done with those 3 different types, I'm going to show you how I want this in your notebook. Okay. Turn our page here, and we have our 3 types of rock. Okay, we have our igneous rock, sedimentary rock, and a metamorphic rock. Igneous rock, okay, thinking back to our rock cycle on the other page, igneous rock is formed when lava or magma cools and hardens. So igneous rock is formed when lava and magma cools and hardens. Okay. They're found near volcanoes, little fun fact. Which makes sense because lava and magma is found at volcanoes. And an example, okay, you're not going to be tested on the example, but it's a way to remember it. It's a little, again, little fun fact, trivia question. An example of an igneous rock is obsidian. Okay? And obsidian is that smooth, very uniform, shiny, black looking rock. Okay? It's very pretty, very shiny, and smooth, uniform. There isn't lots of different pieces. It all kind of looks the same. There's black shininess to it. After igneous rock, we have a sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock, okay, is formed when sediments, those little pieces, okay, accumulate. We get a whole bunch of them. We get a whole bunch of little pieces. And those little pieces get compacted and cemented together. Sedimentary rocks are cool because you can see all those different parts. Right? Like you can see little bits of sand, or you can see little pebbles. Right? You can even see fossils, okay, in sedimentary rock. And an example of this one is sandstone. Okay, so again, sedimentary rock, you have those very distinct layers. Okay, think of the layers on a cake. Okay, so here's an example. Okay, again, we have these very distinct layers, these lines, these striations in here. Okay, and we have different colors. Down here, there's a lighter kind of gray color, and then we have more red, and then it kind of gets gray back up in here. Okay. So not as uniformed. There's different colors and the lines. It looks like sediments in different layers. Okay, sedimentary is cool because again that's where we get all of our fossils. The rocks with fossils are sedimentary rocks. Okay. And then our last rock type, metamorphic rock. Okay. Those are formed under intense heat and pressure. It may have kind of a ribbon-like, wavy little pattern in it. And it may even have some crystals or some shininess to it. And an example of this one is marble. I still think of, your marble tiles in your bathrooms that have those wavy designs in them, or even just marble statues. And then a picture here, this one has lots of crystals in it. Okay, it's a kind of a blue marble where they showed us the crystal side of it. Okay, so it can have these crystals. But again, think of kind of your bathroom tile. Okay, so putting these in your notebook, you can separate them, and you're going to cut all the way around. All the way around both pieces. Make sure you keep that tab. Remember, we cut on the solid line. And we fold on the dotted. So you're going to cut all the way around both pieces. I did just this one, okay, for time. So this is going to get glued into your notebook. Okay. I want you to make a title page. Okay. So we're in semester 2. Okay. Semester 2. We're talking about a changing Earth. Okay. But specifically, we're talking about the rock cycle. Okay. So make your title page. Then on your next available page, this one that I cut all the way around, okay, this one, you're going to glue the whole thing down. If you need to trim off a little side, okay, you can glue this whole thing down. Okay. Then the one with the rock cycle on it, you're only going to glue up here on the tab. Okay, cut it out, glue up on the tab so that it flips up. Right. So glue just on the tab on this one. Cut both of them all the way around. This one gets glued all the way down. This one with the rock cycle, you're only putting glue up here on the tab. Okay? So you're only putting glue up here. See where I got my pen? That's where the glue's going to go. Only this spot up here. Match it up so then it'll flip up. Have any questions? Let me know.